Welcome, I'm Jerry Wilhite with FSIC. Today I'm here to talk about GPO channel, the history of it, where it's come over the last 20 years, and what it's going to look like moving forward. Very excited to be launching today a new program that'll have 100% transparency in the GPO space. The GPO channel has been around for a long time. It started with source GPOs like Foodbuy, like Sodexo, like Premier, that were primarily in the healthcare space. Took care of group purchasing, putting together purchasing for hospitals, nursing homes, things like that, schools, universities. With that, the GPO space, I think, was very valid and did a lot of good for those types of businesses. At some point, the Access GPO came into play. And the Access GPO morphed into and moved over into the restaurant side of the business. And the Access GPOs would take the book of deals that were set up by the Source GPOs and utilize their book of deals. What they did is the Source GPO took 50% of all rebates, had some contracts available to the customer, but they took half of the rebate money that was available to the client through the manufacturer. And then the Access GPO took that and took half of that. So rebates, the client at the end of the day was getting 25 cents on the dollar. The unfortunate part, it was sold as a free program. It's never been a free program. There's been a cost to the program. The end user has not had to write a check, but I'm going to discuss a little further what exactly it costs the customer and how that money can be translated back to the customer and have the customer get the biggest portion of money that's being put out by the manufacturers to the end users that they're earning by buying their product. In 2003, I was asked by one of the Access GPOs to help them negotiate an MDA with distributors in the Northeast. I went to the Northeast, stood up in front of a group of clients and discussed with them my background, my family's background in the industry that goes back to 1911, and the ability I had to support them in putting together an MDA. We put together an MDA and put out proposals, a request for proposal with 3 different distributors. And when those came back, 3 or 4 days later, I was told by the Access GPO that they had selected XYZ distributor, and I asked them why. They told me it's because they paid them the most. That is not what I stood up and told the customer. I told the customer we would get them the best deal possible for them that was the best for them in running their business. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. From that day on, I had a bitter taste in my mouth about GPOs and the way they run their business. You've heard me say that time and time again through podcasts that I've done. People that know me in the industry, they think I've been anti-GPO. I've been anti-lack of transparency in the GPO space. Even today, when we take on a new client that happens to be a GPO client, many times we find that contracts aren't in place, they're not being adhered to. Distributors don't even have them. We just picked up a client that's been in it with a Access GPO for over 2 years, and not one contract was in place that they were getting contracted price. We're also finding customers that have rebates that are in arrears up to 2 years. That they've not gotten their rebates, and many times we find clients that are no longer with the program, but their data is still being delivered to the Access GPO, who in turn potentially could be billing back for that and not passing on that money to the customer. So I think there's a big issue with, and has been a big issue with, transparency, specifically, and maybe it was not with the Source GPOs, but with the Access GPOs that went out and resold these programs, and maybe over time got a little bit greedy, changed the programs, and the money is not flowing through to the customer as though the manufacturer expected, and as we're seeing as we bring on FSIC clients that are part of GPO programs. Over the years, the GPO or Access GPO programs has been taunted as a program that's free. There's no cost. Just sign the paper and money will start flowing after a 5 to 6 month lag time. There's been a cost to these programs. There's been, and in some situations, a very steep cost to these programs for money that's paid out by the manufacturer that's earned by the end user. Access GPOs today, there's not too many of them left. Some have been bought out, some have been absorbed, some have went out of business. There is one left today that I'm aware of that taunt themselves as a Source GPO, but truly believe they're an Access GPO because they use the book of deals from an actual Source GPO, which to us means they're still an Access GPO. In fact, I've also heard that their rebate programs are going away. Over the last couple of months, we've had some conversations with accounts that we've recently brought on that were part of this program. And I've asked the question, how much do you get paid and what are your income streams? My understanding is there's still income streams coming from the distributor. They're paid admin fees that come from the distributor based on the business that you have through that distributor. They're paid rebates or monies from the manufacturer, but the one thing that we've not been told is how much money they actually make and earn based on what we earn in buying that product. Until that question's answered, I don't think there's transparency that there needs to be, and I'm very excited to be kicking off a new program that I'll be talking to you about shortly. Very excited to be talking about a new GPO program with 100% transparency. And I'd like to share with you a little bit about how we got there. Back about a year and a half ago, a good friend of mine who was a vice president of one of the large distribution centers or distribution companies as executive vice president of national accounts went to work for a GPO. I have to tell you, the day he did was a day that I felt either his legacy would unfortunately go south or it would really take off and he would take an industry or educate me on an industry that does have transparency. Unfortunately, got muddied over time and maybe again through Access GPOs. In January of this year, I was asked to go to Charlotte, North Carolina, along with my COO, Dana Sharon. And we went and met with Foodbuy. I got to meet Dennis, their CEO of Foodbuy, as well as Scott Sanders, the CEO of Foodservice, Foodbuy Foodservice. And we met a whole lot of their people over the period of time that we were there. We also got to look at all their programs. What I saw and looking under the hood was 100% transparency. And I was scratching my head as to how things got so sideways over time. And people couldn't come out and talk about what it actually cost somebody to be part of a GPO program. I will tell you that as the day went on and the next day went on, we spent time with the people. I got more excited about the opportunity this may have for our clients. So in February of this year, we signed an agreement to work with Foodbuy Foodservice in their book of deals. We've ran that program through 6 of our current clients, and I will tell you right now that I'm very excited about the opportunity it's going to afford them with picking up anywhere from $30,000 to $300,000 in additional savings on items that we can't contract directly. I was also excited that most of the contracts that we have done directly were very advantageous for our clients. So the 2 people that we have that are our directors in supplier relations, Jeff Larson, who was the vice president of procurement for Cisco, and Sharon Signowski, who was a vice president of purchasing for US Food Service. We have 2 very good people who have done a very good job for our clients over the years, along with their team, and they'll continue to do that work. But I am excited that we are launching Allowance Source, fueled by Foodbuy Foodservice. And effective immediately, we have their book of deals that are available to our clients. They're available to new clients with 100% transparency of what contracts the customer gets, what rebates the customer gets, what portion the source GPO gets of those rebates, and the actual true cost. I would strongly suggest, if you're part of a GPO today, please ask if you can be told and somebody can articulate to you the cost of that GPO. If they can't, reach out to us at FSIC and our Allowance Source program, and we'll be able to show you exactly what that program cost you.